You're listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. The show that gives pastors and church leaders the clarity they need to protect their people, property, and ministry.
Welcome back to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. I'm your host, Ron Wadley with Insurance for Texans. We help church leaders protect their people and property with wisdom and clarity. Today, we're stepping into a topic most of us would rather avoid, but as stewards, we can't look away. We're talking about sexual abuse and molestation coverage for Texas churches. The sun was setting in the piney woods of East Texas as Penny sat in her office in Tyler. Penny is the children's ministry director at her church, and with Vacation Bible School around the corner, her desk was covered in volunteer assignments. Earlier that day, she'd seen a news report about a church in a neighboring county that was facing a lawsuit over an abuse allegation from 10 years ago. The report said the church was likely going to close its doors because the legal fees alone were going to bankrupt them. Penny wanted to see if her church would be protected from something similar. So she pulled the church's insurance binder out of the drawer and thumbed through the pages. She saw the page marked General Liability Insurance and sighed in relief. She, like many other church leaders, believes general liability covers any liability that their church could face. Unfortunately, that is not the case. General liability is in place to protect your church from lawsuits that result from slip and fall accidents, not intentional acts of abuse. Allegations of abuse are excluded from general liability policies. Without a specific endorsement or a standalone policy for sexual abuse and molestation, your church is self-insuring for this expensive liability. Penny called her church's insurance agent the next morning. She wanted to know if they had the right endorsement. The agent spent some time explaining how abuse and molestation coverage worked. Sexual misconduct liability operates by a different set of rules than other policies. Many church liability insurance policies are written on what is called an occurrence basis. This means that if an accident happens while the policy is in force, you are covered regardless of when the claim is filed. But for sexual abuse policies, carriers often use a claims-made form. This is a critical distinction. A claims-made policy only covers claims that are filed while the policy is active. This can create a massive gap if you don't understand the concept of the retroactive date. Imagine that an incident happened in 2018, but the victim did not come forward until 2026. If your church switched insurance carriers in 2022 and did not protect the retroactive date, the claim will not be covered. Penny also learned about defense costs. Defending a church against a sexual abuse allegation is incredibly expensive. Legal fees can easily exceed $100,000 before a settlement is even reached. You need a policy where defense costs are outside of the policy's limits. If your defense costs are inside the limits, every dollar you spend on a lawyer reduces the money available to pay a settlement. For example, if you have a $1 million limit and you spend $500,000 on legal fees, you only have half of your protection left to pay the settlement. The judge will order that your church pays the rest of the money owed to the victim. Lastly, Penny also learned that having the policy isn't enough. You have to prove you're worth insuring. Carriers now view standard operating procedures as a condition of coverage. To keep your policy in place, you need three things. Number one is mandatory background checks for every staff member and volunteer working with minors. Number two is annual prevention training. And the third is a written reporting process, so every volunteer knows exactly who to call and when to involve the police. Penny realized that protecting her precious ones required more than just Bible stories. It required a foundation of proactive risk management. Don't wait for an accusation to surface before you find out your church doesn't have abuse and molestation coverage. Connect with our church insurance team at insurancefortexans.com. And to dive deeper into how to structure your church's insurance protection, get a free copy of our book, The Promise of Certainty, at thepromiseofcertainty.com. I'm Ron Wadley, and this has been Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. Until next time, remember, good stewardship means understanding your church's risks.
Thanks for listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance. Until next time, remember, insurance isn't just about policies. It's about safeguarding the mission God has called you to lead.